Hey guys, welcome to Khanvolution. My name's Khan, and today I'm going to be reacting to RWBY Volume 1, Chapters 9 and 10, titled The Badge and the Burden. Ooh, I really wonder what these two chapters are going to be about, and I really hope we get to start our first day of class at Beacon Academy, you know? Especially coming off of last chapter and its crazy-ass fight choreography and action scenes. That must have been one of the best action scenes I've ever seen in almost anything, bruh. Because, I mean, I've seen my fair share of anime, y'all, and very few shows and anime have the potential, or rather the ability to make me leap off my chair in excitement, but that show definitely, I mean, that chapter definitely did it, you know? So, if you guys want to check out my Chapter 8 reaction, I'll leave that link in the description below so you guys can go check that out before joining back with me on Chapters 9 and 10, alright? And as always, if you guys are loving my videos, please leave a like, subscribe. Please share the video with any other RWBY fans who you think might want to revisit RWBY with us and enjoy that experience, as well as comment down below. I'm always very eager to hear what you guys have to say, not only on these two chapters, but in RWBY in general, alright? So leave your comments down below, and without further ado, let's go ahead and get into chapters 9 and 10, alright? In 3, 2, 1, son! Silhouette against the moon, bro. Yes! Oh, Weiss! Good morning, Weiss. Oh. Oh! Are those school uniforms? Yeah, school uniforms!
What's wrong with you? Now that you're awake, we can officially begin our first order of business.
Which is?
Decorating!
Oh!
We still have to unpack.
Oh, decorating their bed, I mean their dorm rooms, yes! And RWBY still got her cape.
Weiss, Blake, Yang, and their fearless leader RWBY have begun their first mission. Banzai!
Banzai! Yang likes boy bands, okay? Ooh, Weiss is a fan of romantic paintings. Blake with their books, yeah! Ninjas of love? That's so cute! What? Oh, they have to stitch the curtain back. Come on, it's like the first day of living in their dorm rooms and their curtains are already ripped. Thank you, RWBY.
This isn't going
Yo, what the hell happened to the beds?
A bit cramped.
Maybe we should ditch some of our stuff.
Or we could ditch the beds
No.
and replace them with bunk beds.
Oh, yes!
Sounds incredibly dangerous.
And super awesome!
Yes!
It does seem efficient.
Yes, it is efficient.
We should put it to a vote. I think we just did.
Weiss is like, no. They're like drilling stuff.
Objective complete.
Ooh. What the? What's up with the bed on the top left-hand corner? Could do anything that's RWBY's bed.
Now,
yeah,
we
it
have
is.
a few classes together today. At 9, we've got a big... What? Did you say 9 o'clock? It's 8:55, you...
Oh shit, you guys are gonna be late. It's the first day of class, you're gonna be late. Run! Team Juniper, yeah! They're like opposite dorm rooms, awesome!
Class?
Get your asses to class, fools!
We're gonna be late.
Ah, Team RWBY and Team Juniper together again! I love them!
Monsters!
Ooh.
Demons! Prowlers of the
Ooh,
night!
new professor!
The creatures of Grimm have
Oh,
many
and
names.
all the different types of Grimm?
I merely refer to them as prey.
Nobody cares.
And you shall too upon graduating from this prestigious academy. Now, as I was saying, Vale, as well as the other 3 kingdoms, are safe
Vale and
havens in
other
an
3
otherwise
kingdoms? So 4
treacherous
kingdoms
world.
altogether?
Our planet is absolutely teeming with creatures that would
Oh,
love
you see the
nothing more
Ursa in
than
the
to tear
background?
you to pieces.
The
And that's
Nevermore?
where we come in. Huntsmen, huntresses, Individuals who are sworn to protect those who cannot
The
protect
Beowulf
themselves.
Deathstalker?
For
Oh, that's
what
a new
you
one.
ask? Why, the very word.
Boarbatusk?
Hey, yeah.
Hey, Hey, yeah.
That
Sit
is
your
what
ass
you are
down,
dreaming
fool.
to become. But
Oh, and the
first,
King Taijitu.
story.
Ah.
A tale of a young, handsome man.
Beowulf.
Me. When I was a boy.
Yeah, typical college professor. Talks more about himself than the actual class.
Despite smelling of cabbages, my grandfather was
Cabbages?
a wise man. Peter, he told me.
The professor's name is Peter? Ruby is me in class.
In the end,
Oh,
the Beowulf
man.
was no match for my sheer tenacity. And I returned
This guy reminds
to
me
my
of Alex
village
Louis
with
Armstrong,
feast
the
and
way his
festivity,
mustache is moving, but
and
there's no
my
mouth.
head held high, celebrated as a
Yes.
hero. The moral of this story? A true huntsman must
Damn.
be
Oh.
a true huntsman must be dependable.
Ruby shenanigans just pisses off Weiss.
Must be strategic, well-educated, and wise. So,
She
who
can't
among
take it no more!
you to be the embodiment of these traits?
I do, sir.
Well,
Yes, the
then,
studious girl.
find out. Step forward.
Oh shit, what is that?
Opponent.
Did he bring a Grimm to class? Oh, this song is good. I know I say that about all the songs, but they're all good. I guess this Professor Peter, I'm guessing, appreciates a more practical approach in his studies. Or at least training his students. Alright, next episode. Oh shit, Weiss changed into her battle garments.
Go
Is this like a Bogart from Harry Potter? Oh!
Represent Team
Blake's like
Ruby.
waving a Ruby flag.
I'm trying to focus. Oh,
Ooh,
sorry.
damn.
All
tempers.
right. Let the match begin.
Oh shit, new Grimm! It's the Boarbatusk from the previous chapter.
Aha!
Get it, Weiss! Come on, girl!
That were you.
Hang in there, Weiss.
Oh shit, it caught the rapier in its tusk, damn!
I like it.
Come on, Weiss. Show it who's boss.
Yes, Weiss. Oh no. Oh shit.
Oh, now
Use your,
what will you
aura.
do without your weapon.
Oh shit, nice dodge. Get it, Weiss!
Weiss, go for its belly. There's no armor underneath. Stop telling me what to do.
Oh, but pay attention that there's no armor underneath its belly. Oh shit! The Boarbatusk can use rollout? Like milk tank? Oh! Glyph block! Oh! Yeah,
Bravo.
she did what Ruby said, you know? There's no armor underneath its belly.
Indeed, in the presence of a true huntress in training.
Oh, but using those
I'm afraid
glyphs took a
that's
lot
all
of
the
energy
time
out of
we
it,
have
huh?
for today. Be sure to
Aw,
cover the assigned
Ruby.
readings and stay vigilant.
Yes, stay
Class
vigilant.
dismissed.
Yes.
Sheesh, what's with her?
Indeed, Lady Killer,
Weiss,
indeed.
What? What's wrong with you? Why are you being... What's wrong with me? What's wrong with you? You're supposed to be a leader, and all you've been so far is a nuisance. What did I
Relax,
do?
it's just the first day of
That's
class.
just it. You've done nothing to earn your position. Back in the forest, you acted like a child, and you've only continued to do so.
Weiss, where is this coming from?
What happened to all the talk about
Yeah.
working together? I thought you
Yeah.
believed in acting as a team. Not a team led by you.
Ooh.
I've studied and trained, and quite frankly, I deserve better.
She does bear some sense of
Osmond
resentment
made
towards
a
Ruby because of
mistake.
this. Interesting. Oh. Oh.
Now that didn't seem to go very well.
Whoa, he's like Dumbledore apparating out of nowhere.
That remains to be seen.
Indeed it does. It's not an empty title, Ruby. You kind of have to prove yourself.
Professor Port,
Ah, Miss Shani. And to what do I
Professor
owe this
Port?
fine pleasure?
I enjoyed your lecture.
Of course you did, child. You have the blood of a true huntress in you.
You really
This guy's so
think so?
full of himself.
Most surely. Something's troubling you.
Yes, sir.
Dear girl, confess to me your strife.
Confess to me to your
Well,
strength. What era is this guy
I
from?
think I should have been the leader of Team Ruby.
That's preposterous.
Oh, damn, Professor Byrne.
Been one day. Ruby, I've made more mistakes than any man, woman, and child on this planet. But at this moment, I would not consider your appointment to leader to be one of them.
Aww.
Do you?
Excuse me?
I've believed in Professor Osborne for many years, and the man's never once led me astray.
So you would just blindly accept his decision, even after seeing how exceptional I am?
With all due respect, your exceptional skill on the battlefield is matched only by your poor attitude.
Oh,
dare you?
Professor
My
Bird
point
indeed.
I see a girl before me who has spent her entire life getting exactly what she wanted.
That's not even remotely true. Well,
Isn't
not
it?
entirely true.
Okay.
Being a team leader isn't just a title you carry into battle.
True.
But a badge you wear constantly. If you are not always performing at your absolute best, then what reason do you give others to follow you?
Exactly, yeah.
So the outcome did not fall in your favor. Do you really believe that acting in such a manner would cause those in power to reconsider their decision? So instead of fretting about what you don't have, savor what you do. Hone your skills, perfect every technique, and be not the best leader, but the best person you can be.
Yes. Beautiful, yeah.
You've been burdened with a daunting responsibility, Ruby. I advise you take some time to think about how you will uphold it.
Wow, both of them getting like such great advice from these two professors. Professor Port, I thought he was kind of like full of himself, but he isn't without his merits, you know? Oh my god, did they put one bed on top of the other bed with freaking books? That's so unstable! I see why she's been studying all night.
Weiss, I was studying and then I fell asleep. I'm sorry. How do you take your coffee?
I don't.
Answer the question.
Cream
Oh,
and
is
5
she
sugars.
gonna bring her coffee? That's very specific.
Don't move. Here.
Aww.
Thanks, Weiss.
See, Weiss can be nice.
I think you have what it takes to be a good leader. Just know that I am going to be the best teammate you will ever have.
Aww, so cute.
Good luck studying.
Oh, Weiss is so like...
That's wrong, by the way. Hey, Ruby?
Uh-huh.
I always wanted bunk beds as a kid.
Aw, and Ruby smiles too. That's cute. Oh, what a lovely 2 chapters. Oh my god. We got so much into Ruby and Weiss's characters and the new professor as well as some interesting information about the world too. Alright, let's get into the discussion, alright? Silhouette against the moon, bro! Yes! Alright guys, welcome to the chapters 9 and 10 discussion of RWBY Volume 1. I actually took a moment to rewatch the 2 chapters and took a couple of notes to share with you guys. The first thing I really want to go over is like, yeah, we got the first day of class, y'all, cool! And they have like a shared dorm room and they're right opposite to Team Juniper's dorm room, which I wouldn't have it any other way. Yes, keep these 2 teams as close together as possible. I love each and every one of them, alright? And the way they started decorating the dorm rooms was absolutely hilarious. All 3 of them, you know, Blake, Yang, and Ruby are all into it, and Weiss just needs her beauty sleep, you know what I'm saying? And then it's crazy how like they decorate their dorm rooms in different ways, and it kind of gives you a window view into like what their personalities are. Yang likes boy bands, Weiss is into romantic paintings of like beautiful forests and landscapes and things like that, and Blake obviously loves her books. She's of course based on Belle, who also loved books from Beauty and the Beast, and she's reading one book in particular called Ninjas of Love, which is so cute. And last couple of chapters we saw that she was reading a book called A Man with or a book about a man with 2 souls, so I guess she really likes these like romantic novels, which is a very cool and cute thing about Blake, you know. Plus we also got like the bunk beds, which was Ruby's idea, and Ruby's bunk bed looks a little bit like it's hanging on ropes, which isn't the safest thing to do, and I think she sleeps right on top of Weiss, so Weiss better have her aura ready just in case Ruby's bed falls on her. Oh my god, I don't even want to think about that. And Yang's bed, I believe, is on top of Blake's bed, which is like kept stable by a bunch of books. I'm pretty sure Blake placed there, which is very unstable, but okay, let's see how it goes, you know. And the first day of class, and they're already late to class, you know. Of course, Glenda and Professor Ozpin have made a notice of that right away, but I guess they didn't mind too much, right? And we got introduced to Professor Peter Port, I believe. I think his last name is Port, because at some points in the episode, I thought it was like Por or Pork, which is kind of ridiculous. So I'm guessing that the name, his name is Professor Port, and he's such a funny professor. Like, he's a very yes, yes, and he's very full of himself, you know, in that typical college professor kind of way, you know. Talks a little bit more about himself rather than the actual class. His vocabulary seems like it's from old Shakespearean era. His vocabulary and his mannerism and behavior feels like it's a remnant of a forgotten past, if I'm allowed to quote, the narrator from episode 1. But he's not without his merits, as we see in chapter 10, of course, you know. For example, when Professor Port was going through his lesson, he mentioned that the city of Vale is one of the kingdoms alongside 3 other kingdoms. So, and if you look back at the map from chapter 1, they showed like 4 different castles in the world map, so I guess that displays the 4 kingdoms, and the city of Vale is just one of those 4 kingdoms, I guess, that's in charge of maintaining world order. And you know, I guess he's the type of teacher who likes a more practical approach to his studying and his lessons, you know, because he actually brings a Grimm into a classroom, which I think that should be kind of illegal, but I guess it's okay because it's a Huntsman Academy. You kind of have to train these kids in in a practical approach, because they have to utilize their weapons and such, right? And it gave me like a weird feeling of like I was in Hogwarts within the Defense Against the Dark Arts class, you know, facing off against a boggart. It gave me like weird deja vu of that, you know. So that was really cool, and we got to see, like, obviously, like before the scene picked up in that specific part of the class, I guess they were studying about all the different types of Grimm. Like, we got to see the picture of King Taijitu, the Deathstalker, the Beowulf, the Yorsa, Nevermore, and now this episode we got introduced to this really awesome, cool Boarbatusk, you know? I mean, it's small, but it's very deadly, you know? Don't just judge something by its size. The way it, like, started spinning and started using a rollout attack, it reminded me of Miltank's rollout attack from Pokemon, as well as, you know, in the Goron's rollout from the Legend of Zelda series, when, you know, when they start rolling out and, you know, have like spikes and stuff. And of course, who could go up against that but our favorite Weiss, right? So this episode basically focused on RWBY and Weiss, of course, and I was right, you know. Weiss definitely held a little bit of resentment against RWBY because RWBY got picked as the team leader. And it seemed like during the class, Weiss is the very studious type, so she obviously didn't appreciate RWBY's lack of austerity and decorum in the classroom, so that's why she felt compelled to raise her hand and prove herself to Professor Port. And of course, RWBY is not without her merit too. RWBY very quickly realized that the Boarbatusk lacked, you know, shielding in its bottom lower half, so that, you know, Weiss was actually able to utilize that information and to beat the Boarbatusk really well. And as far as the battle was concerned, I felt like, you know, while Weiss was battling, utilizing her glyphs actually takes quite a lot of energy out of Weiss, so, you know, when she's activating her power or her aura, or whichever it is. And Weiss has this sense of pride and in her, not only in her upbringing, but a sense of pride in her status as well. And so she thinks that she is worthy of becoming team leader, which the Professor of Burn, I'll call him Professor Port, is like, that's preposterous, you know. And that also gives you a little window into Professor Port's stand as well. Clearly he's very devoted and has allegiance to Professor Ozpin, because as you remember, Professor Ozpin stated in this chapter that he's made a lot of mistakes in his past, and that obviously has made him the man that he is today, this very experienced headmaster of Beacon, of course. So, you know, I believe in, you know, Professor Ozpin, that his decision in making RWBY the team captain was correct, because although RWBY is young, she's displayed a lot of leadership, especially in the previous battle in chapter 8 as well. So I think, you know, although RWBY has a lot to prove, especially, I mean, being a leader of a team is no empty title, as he mentioned. I mean, it comes with a sense of responsibility, a huge amount of responsibility, as a matter of fact, because your teammates are looking up to you and, you know, will look to you for guidance. It's a huge responsibility, which I think RWBY didn't fully grasp before, but I think it has, thanks to Professor Osmond, has a better grasp on it, because you see at her night, she's very studying hard and doing the best to, like, live up to the expectations that Osmond has for her, as well as, to prove to Weiss as well, right? But what amazes me is that Weiss has this amazing open mind, because he's not like some other people who just, she could have been mad at Professor Port, which she was a little bit, but she was also able to see where he was coming from. Just because you've had a privileged upbringing and a privileged lifestyle doesn't mean it justifies this type of behavior. Right? I think in this episode, Weiss learned a sense of humility and how to be a little bit humble. And she really warms up to RWBY. Well, quite literally, she warms a cup of coffee for RWBY. The series RWBY is so good at melding together these life lessons, because Weiss's animosity towards RWBY is actually kind of like a challenge. And I think this will ultimately help them both grow as team members. So I love the way that these two chapters ended, and I can't wait to see more, And instead of calling it the badge and the burden, they should really call this episode White Rose Blossoming, because it was so centric on Weiss and RWBY, right? Tell me what you guys thought about these two episodes. What was your favorite part about them? And did you guys agree with what I said? Or was there stuff that I didn't mention or that I forgot to catch in this episode? Please leave your comments down below, and I'll see you guys later in episodes 11 and 12, alright? So until then, I'll see you guys later, and bye! Thanks again for watching, and if you enjoyed this reaction, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I will see you later.